the nation of Mexico has not only elected a female president before we did, they also elected a Jewish female president. We have not elected a Jew or a woman. I don't know if you heard. It's been in the news that we haven't done that. And we want to talk more about this woman as she approaches her birthday coming up in, 2 weeks?
June 24th.
Yeah. Her name is Claudia Sheinbaum, and also I thought it was very interesting that a lot of folks who live here, who are Mexican citizens, were able to vote as well.
That's right.
So joining us now, Jorge Desantiago, reporter for Telemundo. Good morning, sir.
Buenos dias. Good morning.
Buenos dias.
And nice to have you on. Tell us about Claudia Sheinbaum. This was no surprise. She's been in the system, but is it anticipated, and the folks you're talking to, that she will follow the lead of her predecessor and mentor, the outgoing president?
Well, that's what they're hoping. She's making history. She won by a landslide. People knew that she more than likely was going to be the candidate and the winner of this Mexican election. She is following the footsteps of her predecessor. She was with him for two previous runnings for president that he didn't succeed for. So she knew what was going on. She knew how to work the system. She knew that what points she needed to touch on. And I think the Mexican nationals that voted for her are hoping that the programs that the current president currently has will continue on, and I believe that's why they voted for her.
One of the things that's a great concern here, as you well know, and obviously a great concern in Mexico, is violence and big city violence. Now, she ran Mexico City, one of the biggest cities in the world. She certainly knows what she has to face, but outgoing President Obrador had this Hugs Not Bullets program. Was it working? Was it not working? Was he making any headway? And what is she going to do about it?
It all depends on who you ask. If you ask them directly, they'll tell you, hey, we're seeing a difference. We know that we can't fix everything once at a time. It all depends on who you ask, because if you ask people at the border, they'll tell you, hey, you know what? Absolutely not. This may be a different story for them. And they put out numbers for themselves. And again, it all depends on who you ask. If you ask a politician, especially them, they'll tell you, hey, we're making strides. We're making a difference little by little. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. But yeah.
Hi, Jorge. As we look ahead, she has a lot of challenges that she has to deal with that are going to be coming up. I want to talk a little bit about, Steve brought up crime. I'm thinking drug trafficking. And then, that's going to be a challenge. And then also the relationship continuing to be an ally to the United States.
Absolutely. So let's focus on drug trafficking itself. You guys know that here in Chicago, we have the son of El Chapo Guzman, Joaquin, what's his name right now? I'm going blank right now. But the son of El Chapo Guzman is actually held at the federal detention here in downtown Chicago. He has been there, I believe, since the beginning of the year. So there's been a healthy communication with the U.S., or at least that's what it seems like for right now. And there's been cooperation with extraditions. We've seen that El Chapo Guzman, that was well sought out internationally, he is here in the U.S. He's paying for the crimes that authorities are saying that he committed and all the laundering and everything that happened. So we're seeing that at least in the drug front, it seems like Mexico and the U.S. are talking to each other. They're trying to put an end to it. And this current presidency with Andrés Manuel López Obrador and now Claudia Sheinbaum, they're trying to attack this front by saying, hey, we're going to attack this by bringing people what they need. They're going into the drug world because they need resources, because they need jobs, because they need this or they need that. And that's how they seem to be attacking it. They're like, we're not going to try to put an end to it directly because we probably can't, but we will attack what's making the cost of it. And they seem to know that it's poverty.
Well, there's no question that that's a direct link to it, but that's a generational cure, and that's the problem we run up against here. Nick?
I'm just curious. She's a woman. She's now president-elect. Are there more concerns about security? Have you heard anything about a security detail for her going forward? I would just think that there's a bigger target on her back now for some reason.
You know what? We haven't heard much about that, but she did make a statement. So you know that the Mexican president got rid of the presidential airplane. Mm-hmm. She has vowed that she will not continue on with that. She's like, I'll continue to not have the presidential airplane to transport her from location to location. But it's a Mexican president. I'm very well aware that they will have the best security details. And moving forward, I have no doubt about, or I have no concern about her safety, just because she's a sitting Mexican president, and now she's a elected Mexican president. So I'm pretty sure she has the best security detail with her.
Okay.
In her campaign, how much did she talk about the relationship with America over the border and America's border crisis? Because, as you know, Jorge, today the president is going to limit asylums at a certain number to be announced later this morning. Where does this new Mexican president stand on all of that?
You know what? She didn't focus too much on the U.S. She focused on the problems that were going on in Mexico. She focused on the social issues that she was going to try to change, and the history that it was going to make happen with the first sitting woman as president. So she talked about it here and there, but her main focus was the Mexican problems out there.
You know, it's interesting that you put it that way, and I'm sure that's what you're hearing from folks. But I think a lot of people north of the border, and I would include myself in this, we see this as a joint problem, and it is a problem for the people of Mexico because these are people trying to leave Mexico, whether they came from the Mexican citizenry or not, to get to America. So it seems to be Mexico's problem as well. But if I understand you correctly, the people of Mexico don't see it that way?
Well, there is an immigration problem because we're seeing them coming in through their borders, too. We're seeing people migrating from South America. We're seeing them migrate from Venezuela and everything. So they have a migration problem, too. So that's where they're at, too. They're dealing with the problem, too. They're hoping to put an end to it. But it seems like at times it's not happening.
Well, we look forward to your coverage of it and the good work you guys do at Telemundo Chicago. But, Jorge, I hope you come back because we appreciate the explanation.
Absolutely. I hear you guys have a green room, and I hear that it's only for famous people. So I'm hoping that eventually I'll make it to your studios out there. I'll bring some Mexican tamales.
Come on.
Oh, well, then you're in.
Anytime you want, Jorge.
You just got promoted. You're in the green room.
Yeah, the green room's yours. We'll put your name on the door.
Please, I promise to take some tamales.
We love tamales.
Love it, Jorge. Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on. Jorge Desantiago from Telemundo Chicago. Don't you find
Jorge.
Don't you find that interesting? Well, because I would think that the people of Mexico would think, well, this is a Mexican problem and an American problem.
Yeah, you would think so, but it's not even on their radar, not thinking about it.
These are just people passing through.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's an American problem at the border, but they're coming over our border into America.
Right. That's right. But what he said, too, was interesting because they're working on so many other issues.
Right, I get that. But that, to me, would be a way the Biden folks ought to attack this problem. There's a direct relationship with this new president. You got a fresh start here and a public meeting with this new president to say, we are going to attack this border problem together.
I think Biden did say yesterday, he sent her a note and said, can't wait to meet you.
All right, well, then you're going to need the next step and call her. And maybe fax her on Dolly Parton's fax machine.
You might have faxed it, yeah.